Okay, here we are again back at another episode of the More to It podcast with Hail Varsity Magazine and HailVarsity.com. I am joined by Mr. Brady Schnell, PGA golf professional, former Nebraska standout, and he joins me right now from sunny and warm Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona to be more specific. How you doing, man?
Good, Jay. How are you?
I'm well, man. It's I can't complain. We're sitting here on a Thursday night, and I got myself a nice pour of whiskey. I can see you got yourself some whiskey and a cigar, so I can't complain, my man.
I am chilling. It's just it's good to be on with you, and yeah, I'm enjoying a little Willet Pot Still Reserve.
That boy, I'm sipping a little Blanton's just a splash, some ice, and just a splash of water, just to take the heat off a little bit. But what kind of cigar are you smoking on?
This is an Alec Bradley Prensado.
Gosh, I'm not a cigar guy. Have you always been a cigar guy?
I've really gotten into it the last 5 or 6 months, and my collection is growing a little too quick. Let's put it that way. A little too much time on my hands right now.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you've got to play with Dan Whitney, Larry the Cable Guy. He joined my pod just a few weeks ago, and he has quite the collection. You played up at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am just a couple years ago. What kind of cigars he turned you on? Because he is an aficionado. If there's anyone out there,
He loves his stogies. If I remember right, he likes the Padron 64s anniversaries, which the first one I ever had was from him, and it is delicious. He told me that's all he really likes to smoke. I'm sure he's got a bunch, but I was so jealous of him and his caddy Tim at Pebble smoking cigars while they were playing, and I just felt like, I mean, it's not something we can't do, but it's just like, you just don't, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. I mean,
unless you're Rocco Mediate.
Right, right. I mean, you don't see, NBA guys sipping on Coors Lights and or
right
or NFL players back in the day in the NFL. I mean, you got guys smoking cigarettes and sipping on beer at halftime. That's obviously times have changed.
One thing, that whole Last Dance thing, you got Jordan in the locker room before the game smoking a stick.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that.
He called it. It was crazy. He called it a victory stick. He's like, I'm already celebrating because we're getting this dub tonight.
I love it.
Unbelievable, isn't he?
I love it. That's awesome.
You ever seen him on the golf course, MJ?
I have not. I sure would love to. I mean, I've heard the guy plays like 36 holes a day. Like,
yeah, he just built his own golf course down in Jupiter.
I heard that. What's it called again?
It's
something unique.
Yeah, it has the 23 in it. Why can't I think of it?
I can't either.
But it has it's like you can play it in 3 different 6-hole routes.
Yeah.
So you can play it obviously your traditional 9, but then you can okay, I want to change it up and play these 3 6-hole routing and make it a completely different golf course.
Just right up his alley.
Yeah, man.
And I've heard the practice facility there was kind of help designed by some tour guys, and it's supposed to be just huge wedge range, the best practice facility money can buy.
Yeah, I mean, they said Phil's moving in.
Yep.
75 total members at the moment, invite only.
Mm-hmm.
A guy could play 36 holes in 6 hours.
Jeez. Yeah, that's the way he wants it. Bring his buddies in, just play some golf.
Yeah, and bet hundreds of thousands of dollars.
A lot of them. The guy.
So how have you been taking this? I mean, you guys started off. You're playing the PGA Tour last year, back in the Korn Ferry Tour this year, and we'll discuss more of that. But how you guys get going, and all of a sudden you're called off, just like every other major sport. What the hell have you've been handling? Knowing now, you guys at least finally know when your next event is, but up until just 2 or 3 weeks ago, you didn't know when you guys were playing next. How have you been able to work on your game and just try to have some peace of mind during all this?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew that they were going to give us enough time ahead of time to prepare. So I've just kind of been just laying in the weeds, starting to work on my mind and my body a little bit more. And then when they give us the go ahead, when it's going to start, then I know how to kind of start preparing from there and doing some maintenance work and get things in line. But it's definitely a weird thing. Something I've never gone through, just being at home this long, but it's been nice. just to be able to hang out with my family. You know, my son, he's almost 3 now, and it's kind of a cool time, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a boy's life, and that he's getting a lot of fun. So I'm blessed. I can't complain for my situation because I know a lot more people are a lot worse off. So no complaints here. But
Yeah.
I am ready to get going for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in a great spot. Did you play in the Scottsdale Open last week?
Hmm. Hmm.
You did. I didn't.
Yep.
I didn't even. I just saw who won. It's really hard to find
Yeah.
scores.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Finally get back. How'd you? I mean, had not playing competitive golf in a while. How was that kind of getting back in the swing of things?
It was good. It was really cool. It was good to see some of the faces I haven't seen in a while and just say hi to the guys. And I was a little tournament rusty. I kind of spun my wheels for 3 days. I made the cut and played all right, but it was just fun to be back in a competitive environment. Not that I haven't had any money games here, but it's still a little different when you're playing with a full field. So
Yeah. How do you like that golf course, Talking Stick? I played it one time and I thought it was awesome. The Core Crenshaw one. They have 36 holes there. What are your thoughts on the golf course?
it is so good when it's firm.
Yeah.
But I played it probably 5 times in the last 2 months. It just so happens that a couple buddies of mine play there, and so I've gone and played with them, and it's been soft.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a boring golf course when it's soft, but they firmed it out and just play so nicely. It's meant to be firm, right? So it's a lot more fun that way.
Yeah, I was so today here in Lincoln, and I played golf with Scott Gucheski out at Firethorn, and
Mhm.
another good buddy that we know, and Scott Tridle. We are just talking about getting back to playing again that next event in a couple weeks in Jacksonville for the first Korn Ferry Tour event, and we're just like talking about all the protocols and all the stuff. And I go, Gooch, what is a guy going to do if he has a lead going into the third round and he's showing symptoms? He's like, he goes, I don't know. Like, what do you? I mean, he says they're going to take people's temperatures and like every day. I'm like, but this guy hasn't. What do you? I mean, it's just crazy. He could have literally, hell, a guy could have 5-shot lead going into the final round and be like, nope, sorry, you can't play. You're showing
Ugh.
symptoms. I mean, you just won. You won just a couple of years ago on was it the web or was it still the Corn Ferry or whatever it was, web.com back then when you won in
Yeah.
Wichita. But put yourself in those shoes. You're sitting there with a 4 or 5-shot lead, and they're like, sorry, buddy, you and your caddy got to go hang out and quarantine yourself here.
I hadn't even thought about that. Obviously, gosh, I'd like to say it would be a good problem to have for playing well.
Sure.
Somehow try and fake your way past it, like the whole temperature thing, like put a ice pack on your head right before
Mm-hmm.
they. But geez, all I know is I hope that doesn't happen because that would be extremely awkward and unprecedented and a terrible situation.
Yeah.
So
We're just talking like, Gooch, what the heck? What is the guy
I,
supposed to do? I mean, he's out here like trying to play for his livelihood, and sorry, pal, you got 100 temp. Can't do it. Sorry.
I feel like I would want like them to send out people. Well, I don't know. There's gonna be no fans.
Right.
Somehow they would. Gosh, they should set up like a quarantined area for people showing symptoms.
Well, I would just thinking out loud. I'm like, hey, listen, like who your playing partners are. Be like, listen, I'm not feeling great. Like, legitimately, stay 6 feet away from me. Like, don't do your best. Like, don't come in contact. Like, your caddy. I mean, that's the thing too. Is like the caddy's going to be close. You guys are talking yardages, whatever. But he's like,
Oh yeah,
he knows he has a paycheck on the line too, so he's willing to do what he has to take. But no, it's just it's crazy. I mean, I imagine you guys have to knowing what's going into it. I'm sure most players are pretty prepared. They know their routine and their schedules, but knowing what you're dealing with now, I mean, you have to have a lot of things already in place and put in place just because of this. You just can't be like, oh, I'm gonna go here and I'll kind of figure this out. It's like, no, man, you got to have like all your ducks in a row before you can even step foot on facility.
Absolutely. They're sending us some at-home kits to take, some saliva tests, and then I think we got to get a nose swab when we get to the tournament. And they're going to, like you said, take our temperature and everything every day before we can go into dining and stuff like that. I mean, it's a logistical nightmare for them just, because they've got to cover their ass, right? So
Right.
they just can't have anything happen. And I think they've honestly done a pretty amazing job, just with the plans they've laid out. I don't know how other guys feel. Just I don't know, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be weird. No fans. Not that we have a ton anyway, but some of the tournaments do. Like you mentioned, Wichita. I mean, Wichita. They make money off the fans, and that's what that event is all about. It's huge for that city. So places like that, it's gonna be tricky. I know it'll be in the fall, but we'll see what happens. It's gonna be strange, and I think it's gonna be a flowing situation, right? It's just
Right.
we don't know what's gonna happen in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah, I want to go back. Talking about living in Phoenix, and obviously there's phenomenal golf courses there. It's my favorite place to play golf. But the amount of talent and a lot of other professionals that live in that area in money games. I mean, it's just as simple as a group text. Hey, let's peg it here, and this is what we got going. And I'm sure you. I mean, you probably get some nice groups put together to get some cash games going down there.
Yeah, you certainly can. You've got that avenue to get a game whenever you want. I know I live down a little further south, so I don't get up, the big money games with a lot of the guys are out to Whisper Rocks and where they're all members. I'm not there, but there's some good skins games in town that a lot of the pros will play in, and I just haven't been doing a whole lot other than kind of practicing on my own and playing with a few buddies, like I said, at Talkin Stick. And, had a few guys out to the course where I belong at. And I'd like to get into some of those games more, but it's just so far up there. And I don't know.
Hey, I always want to know, like, in a place like Phoenix where there's so many good players, is there like living legends down there that they could probably make money on tour or playing professionally, but they don't, and you just kind of clean up down there?
Not that I know of. Trying to think. You mean like amateur types?
Yeah, guys. You're like, you know what? They're good college players, but they just maybe they didn't have the funds to do it, or they didn't have any aspirations, but they can just flat out play it, or they just like I always talk to guys who played, whether it's you're one of your best friends, Joe Cornell, and I know him really well, or other guy, Alex Harper, and those guys that went try to play down there in the Gateway, and they go to play, and it's like these guys down there, all they do is play these golf courses, and they're sending it over freaking townhomes, and he's like trying to hybrid out there, and they're just mailing these right over these townhomes. He's like, what have I got myself into? But it's like these guys just go down there and they just know how to play these courses, and they just light it up, but then you don't really hear much of them anywhere else.
Right. Well, there are definitely a lot of those guys that play really well in the desert, but it doesn't always travel well, to tree line courses and whatnot. I can think of some, but they're still kicking it around, whether they have bad status in the Korn Ferry or still doing state opens and stuff, but they can just flat out play. And that's just a testament to the talent in the game in general. There's just a lot of good players, and I think equipment has brought people closer together as well. It's a little bit more putting contest than it used to be, and so a lot of guys can strike the ball really well. It's just a matter of luck at the right time. That's just the way golf is how So there's definitely so much talent down here that hasn't had the opportunity to showcase just because they haven't done the right thing at the right time.
Yeah. When Brady Schnell's playing really good golf, what's obviously you're firing all cylinders. What's your kind of your go to? When things are going in the right way. What can you what can you attest to your good play on the course?
Right. I think most of the time I'm a pretty good driver of the golf ball. Where I feel like I've lacked when I haven't played well is my iron game, mid iron game. The courses are just if I could just hit a little further. I know easier said than done.
Right.
Getting that wedge range, that's where I can get a little more comfortable and I'd say inside 140 yards. But you get outside of that, and I think when I'm doing that well, is probably where you're going to see me playing well. Fairly consistent putter, and my short game's improved too. So for me, it's the mid to long iron game is where I struggle, that I need to get better at for sure.
Yeah, but you've always been a good putter. right? Everyone I talk to is like, no, Brady's always been a good putter. That's like one thing you can always kind of fall back on, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've had to, right? I just can't overpower golf courses like some of these guys nowadays. And I just kind of got to survive by keeping it in front of me and making some putts, really. So
Yeah, I wish you're talking to the streakiest putter alive. Either I make everything or don't make a thing, and I'm not making a thing right now.
You got a hell of a
Currently.
putting stroke too.
What's that?
You got a hell of a putting stroke too.
Yeah, well, trust me, there's some time put in it, even more time now, which has kind of been nice. But
yeah, right.
No, take me back. So 2 years ago, you win. You're able to get into the PGA Tour. Your first full year on tour, man. Just take me through that. You put in the work, you put in the time. You get that win in Wichita, but you get your first full year on tour. Just take me through that experience and that ride of teaming up with the best of the best.
Yeah, it's definitely, a guys club, right? You want to be part of that for the rest of your life if you can. It's just so much different than any other thing you can experience. There's so much going on week in, week out. I had played in a handful of PGA events before, but so you kind of know what to expect out of that one event. But where it really gets interesting is doing it every week and having that big distraction every week, and just so much going on. And I don't think I was 100% prepared for that because it was so different than, like I said, just the one events that I had played. And you get off to a slow start or whatever, and you just get the tryhards going a little bit. And before you know it, you're pushing and nothing's happening. And I don't know. It was a tough year. Had a couple good finishes, but just not enough of them.
Yeah. Isn't it golf so funny? You just said it. The harder you try, the worse you get. It's just golf. Isn't that just silly? Because like football,
It's
it's
a
like the harder
fine
you
line.
try, the harder you try in football. It's like no, you're gonna be pretty
Right.
good at basketball. You try really hard, you're gonna be pretty good. Same with baseball.
Right.
It's like golf, but it's like that's that fine line of like caring a lot and giving zero Fs. It's like that
Right.
fine line. And when you're,
Right.
they always when I find myself when I play well, I'm sure it's just you're just like nothing bugs you.
I know.
And
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, and it just happens, and all of a sudden you play bad, and you're like, God, damn it! Like, it's just that's why golf's a 4-letter word. I was told that some of that is so frustrating.
I know it is. It's such a fine line between trying too hard and trying just hard enough. I mean, like football, basketball, you mentioned, that's kind of an effort thing, right? I mean, you give out full effort, you're going to see good results. And it's not like you're out on the golf course not giving full effort, but I guess, golfers know what it's like to try too hard. And, you're on the putting green and you're just filling it up because you don't really care. And then get to the course and you want to make that putt so bad, but it's just not the same. So it's a fine line that professionals struggle with all the time. And it's a lot easier when you're playing well and that confidence comes around. But then it's like, what comes first, the confidence or playing well, or should you get yourself into a confident state before you even go out and play so that you can play well? So it's an ongoing battle that we all have to deal with at times, depending on where the state of the game is, and just you just got to go do it and figure it out.
Yeah. What are you working on right now in your game? I mean, I know you work with Mike Cornell up here in Omaha, and like I said, Judd's Pops and are a good buddy of ours, but golfers are always working on something. There's always something to be working on. What's Brady Schnell working on?
For me, my lower body footwork and such isn't good enough, consistent enough. I think that's where some of the iron struggles come from sometimes. I don't, use the ground forces as well as I should. Don't hit it as far as others because of that. And, as far as swing plane and everything, and it's pretty good. But there's some footwork stuff that just constantly working on, and it's just like such a tough habit to break. I feel like I've just been working on it forever. So
what's fun is there's always something. There's always golfers always have that one thing like it, and it's again the fine line. Like And it's funny because golf, you could feel like you're making the biggest change in what it feels like, and you see yourself on video. It's like that. It's like moved a centimeter. You're like, it's so frustrating, but it feels like you're working your ass off to make that move. But it's like, no, it's like just that much. But it makes but it makes a world of difference.
And me, I've traditionally always taken it too far. Like you work on that, and then you work on it, and work on it, and all of a sudden you flip it around. You got to go back the other direction. It's like you got to find that 1 or 2 week hot spot in there where guys are finishing well. And it is like you won't see a difference in DJ swing, or I don't know why I said DJ, but it just popped into my head because he's got such a unique looking swing. But to him, that could feel miles different than it did last week. But you're not going to notice it. So guys and their swings are feeling a lot different week to week than you can tell on TV. To your point, so
yeah, it's always interesting because you talk to some people like, it's it's something simple as setup. No, it's something as this, but it's just funny. You go from playing shitty for a little bit, and all of a sudden you just make that little tweak, or maybe even think what you think's a little tweak, and it can clear your mind up too. It's like, and it's ball position. The ball position can move back an inch, and it's like I'm striping it.
Honestly, a lot of times it comes down to fundamentals. I mean, just checking your ball position or tweaking your grip or widening your stance. I mean, it can make a world of difference in what you're doing with your swing and the plane and how you're striking it.
Yeah, I was just putting together some research here before we got on, and I should have asked you this earlier, but you got to play in a British Open just a couple years ago, and I talked about your PGA Tour experience, but you're able to qualify for the British Open through your Latin America Tour success. And was that when Tiger almost won it? Was that the one that you just a couple years ago, right?
There was Carnoustie,
yep.
Yep.
That experience, man, going over there, seeing because you had it firm and fast.
Oh yeah.
Just that experience, and have you been over there to Scotland at all to play golf?
I had. It was I think senior year of college. No. Yeah, 2007 I think I played in the British Am, or 2006 at Royal Lytham, and it was a while ago, so you think you're going to go over there and be like, okay, yeah, it's a firm golf course, I'll just hit less club or I'll bounce it up. But no, I mean, you've got to have what you're doing, like you've got to have that down, like and the golf course was just, it's one of those courses where the fairway bunkers are half in the fairway, half out, but then you go from that bunker till the next fairway, there's nothing. So really it favored the guy that kind of sprayed it, and I was just a little bit off, so I was in a few too many bunkers, and I just wasn't, it was a tough experience, but what a great one too, though. Seeing all the fans are just so passionate, and just being around it's got oldest golf tournament in the world, right? So I mean, you can say you played in and just experience that was I'll never forget it. I was pretty freaking nervous on the first tee, though, I'll tell you that. Not top the 4-iron, but it rolled out there pretty well.
Well, luckily it was firm and fast. How what was did you have to make a lot of tweaks to your equipment that week just because of the turf conditions?
I think I put in a 3-iron. No, I don't know I don't think I did, actually. My wedges were the conditions were fine, and I don't remember what I did. I may have put in a different 3-wood, actually, because it was, for me, there was more 3-woods than I expected. So I put in something with a little less loft, kind of in between a 3-wood and a driver.
Yeah. Let's go back a little bit to college. I don't know if you remember this, but we actually had one class together at Nebraska. Do you recall? Here's one thing, probably not, because I know you and I weren't there very much. We did not attend this class very much.
Well, maybe you didn't, but I was there every time.
No, yeah, that's a lie. I know it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I did not go one Friday.
I can picture the building, and I can picture the classroom. Was it something to do with history?
Yes, it was like a military history class.
Yes.
It was like the furthest building away from campus. It was like
can't get further away.
Yeah, I mean, it was like damn near like It might as well have been on O Street.
It was on the
way
one,
out there.
what was it? It was P Street towards campus from O.
And tested me here. I can't remember. It was like, you remember we always called it the drunk lot where you park where you go to the bars. It was
Yeah.
like that's the building, and that was the parking lot.
100%. And there was that little right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. I just because it was. I mean, we didn't really know each other. I didn't really know too many golfers, at the time. But I'm like, God, I remember we had a class together. But going back to that, getting into playing in college, having a great amateur career. What told you that, like, you know what, I can do this for a living?
I mean, I had played golf from about 8 on, tournaments and stuff. My dad's a PGA golf professional, and I always had the setup, right. I mean, the place to play, and very fortunate that way. I got serious about it, like tournaments and all that stuff, and really wanted to make a go of it. At least I thought I did at 14, and did some decent things as a junior in Nebraska, and you just kind of snowballs, and you're getting better and better, and pretty soon you're playing college golf not college golf, but junior golf all over the country, and you realize you stack up somewhat well, and you just kind of do it. It's kind of, I mean, same thing. I mean, for you, I'm sure you getting bigger and bigger and realize, damn, I could be pretty good at this football thing. So just kind of take it from there.
I gotta imagine when you win the North-South Amateur at Pinehurst, that had to raise the confidence level up quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, I was talking with someone about that the other day, and it's like when you're doing that, you're just like, you're a kid, right? So you're just kind of freewheeling it. You don't really, it's a big tournament, but you see it more down the line, and it's like that's about as big as it gets on that stage at that point in your career, right? And you look back on it, and it might be you think it's a bigger deal now than it was at the time. You're just like, yeah, I mean, I can play golf. I played good that week and happened to win, but at the time, you're just thinking, that's pretty sweet. I'll just try and keep getting better, I guess.
Yeah. What I mean, I've got to know some of the I can't really call them kids. They feel like kids to me, but the gentleman coming out of Nebraska now and trying to make that move. I mean, what kind of like plan in place? Like, do you have to? Does a young kid come out? I mean, because it's so pretty cut and dry for a kid coming playing basketball or football. It's like, no, you get like if you're good enough, you're gonna get a pre-draft grade. Like, nope, they're projecting you as a 2nd to 4th round draft pick. Okay, I'll try to make some out of it. You go train, and then you go to the combine, and then you get drafted. That's way different in golf. It's like, no,
Right.
it's all up to you. There's no one saying. I mean, hell, I mean, there's a very few guys, and there's the Tiger Woods, the Jordan Spieth, the Dustin Johnsons, whatever, that come out of college. Like, yeah, these are sure these guys will be PGA Tours players one day, but just that process of going through and just trying to find a place to play. It's just not that easy to do.
Yeah, no, it's so different than any other sport. There's not an owner of the league or whatever saying, yeah, we think you're good enough, come play, and here's some money to do it. Right? It's all merit based, and that's what's that I really like about golf. Like, it's on you to do it, and when you're successful, a lot of that is to do with you and your coaches, and you don't have a teammate to fall back on when things are going bad, and so that can make it a little lonely at times too. When you're having an off tournament, there's just no one there to pick you up. But coming out of college, I mean, these kids, you got to have a little money behind you one way or another, because it's expensive to travel and pay for the entry fees until you get to the big tours, and it's a grind for sure. And I think there's a lot of people that have the talent, they just don't want to do what it takes on that level, as far as the travel and stuff and the commitment that it takes as an individual. So, not that I'm perfect at it by any means. I've just been able to kind of go along and just stay afloat and just kind of move up a little bit here and there.
Give give the people, because I'm always amazed just getting to know guys like yourself and Scott Gucheski, Brandon Crick, Judd, a lot of good players that coming out of Nebraska. And what type of money does a player need to have raised, or have someone sponsor him? Like, what's a dollar? I mean, what do you think is a good dollar? Just to give the listeners some idea. Like, I have something in mind, but like maybe the listeners don't understand. Like, no, you got to have some good coin, because these mini tour events are like $1,000 to $1,500 to play in.
Yeah,
and like and the traveling costs and all this stuff. What's a good number that these guys need to have in their behind them to try to make a go of it?
I think, and it depends on what level you're at, but if you're starting out on the mini tours and driving to and from, and maybe you're even flying and whatnot, I think if you're doing it right, you can't spend less than 60, 70,000 bucks a year, which means you've got to make more than that
right. That's hard. That's so hard.
You have a profit, right? I mean, I think my days on like 4 or 5 years ago on the Korn Ferry and whatnot, I'm probably looking at 90 to 100K a year. That's caddy, all the above, and I think you can do it for less, but you can certainly do it for more too. I'm not the type that needs the fancy hotel and whatnot, but a lot of guys, it's just like a mindset. If they don't have a $120 a night hotel, they're going to play like trash or something. Some guys have to eat really well, and some guys don't. So everybody's different. But if you're doing it right, those are the numbers you're looking at.
If back when you started, how many guys did you sleep in a room to try to save some money?
We've gone 3 or 4 deep for sure. Yeah, it's not comfortable, but I mean, at the end of the day, you think, I'm gonna do this, and if I play well, then I've saved some money. If I don't, then maybe you got to take a look at that. I remember, speaking of Brandon Crick, I went over to North Carolina a while back and played in it was the e-golf tour at the time. I drove over there from Arizona and stayed with him and his roommate. I just wanted to do a month's worth of tournaments, and they didn't have another bed, so I slept on their couch for a month. Well, guess what? I played like trash.
Right.
And you don't think about that at the time. You're like, well, my swing is just off or whatever. I don't feel like I'm dealing with the repercussions of staying on a couch. But when you look back on it, you're like, that was a terrible decision. What was I doing? So the quicker you can learn those things, it's just a much better place you'll be in.
Right. But I mean, you doink a win in there, but it's like, that was a great move.
Absolutely.
But when hindsight's always 50-50.
I mean, I was struggling. I don't even remember. I might have made one cut. It was brutal.
How? That's so. That's. I mean.
By the way, we were eating Hamburger Helper every night too, so that didn't help either.
Well, I think Brandon's still eating Hamburger Helper every night. I trust me. I know Brandon really well. I've caddied for him a lot. I mean, love the guy to death, but you're not going to fancy to eat. It's Arby's and Wendy's. That's about as fancy as it gets.
He can't put on weight if he tried.
No kidding. That's what's so funny, because that's what I think golf is so frustrating, because it's, again, we talked about the harder you try, but sometimes golf happens, and you got to enjoy those 2 to 3 to maybe that month you play well, but you just got to know sometimes you're going to have a couple weeks where you don't play well. You can't make a putt. You get a couple bad bounces. You just got to learn to accept that and just know that that's golf. But also, for some people, that's really hard to understand, because they play really good. It's like, no, I got to play like that every time. But it's just you just got to know, this is just not the game. That's just not how it rolls.
It's so frustrating, because you were talking about earlier about centimeters off in the swing. Well, that can make a difference in bounces on the golf course when it's just not going your way. I mean, and then I marvel at guys like Matt Kuchar that just absolutely pepper the top 10s out on tour. And it's just like, how are you this consistent? It just doesn't, it's not how it's meant to be. And it's just like, some guys are just that freaking good. And, we're sitting here trying to have 3 or 4 good weeks a year for a place to play the following. So
Matt Kuchar's he's the king of the backdoor top 10 on Sunday. He's like the guys that sandbag in the scramble so then they can clean up the Calcutta the next day. That's Matt Kuchar.
Yep, he goes out on the weekend, sweeps the dew with his corduroys on, and fires a couple mid 65s, and before you know it, he's 8th place.
Yeah, cashing 400 grand. Just like, thank you. See you guys. We'll see you next week.
Little too little.
Oh,
He's
man.
such a good dude, though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's I mean, when you finally got out to that big tour, you get around some of those guys, and it's always when I started playing a little better and got, with my game, and I start playing with better people, and it's and see guys who are playing with people that make a living out of it, and yourself or Scott Gucheski and Brandon Crick, and you see their shots, you're like, okay, yep, I can see why they are able to make a living out of it. But when you get out there and you see it, because you're doing it, but you're like, holy hell, like that's different. That's gross. That's stupid. Like, give me some guys that you thought when you saw them in person, like that's ridiculous.
yeah, I didn't have the opportunity to play with as big of names as I would like, partly because, well, I just wasn't in the position that they were in most of the time. So watching on the range was fun. It's not like I'm pulling up a lawn chair and watching a practice session.
Getting a whiskey and a cigar and watching guys.
Yeah, like, who's this guy? But no, like, just I remember watching Jason Day at Torrey Pines. He would be for some reason we were just on the range that week a lot, and just watching him go about his business. That's a little bit of a different look there. But I played with Jason Duffner in the Sony, and obviously he's a legendary ball striker. When he putts well, he's probably winning. And the guy didn't miss a shot all day long, and it's like, well, that's how you win major championships right there. I mean, it was like a 1 yard cut off the tee all day long, a 1 yard draw into the green with a 7-iron, and you could just tell though that his putting, it's just so frustrating because he knows how good he is, and the putting is just one of those things where, like we talked about earlier, you just cannot try too hard, and he's kind of just, like I said, when he's putting well, he's winning. So that's the name of the game for him. So other than that, I didn't play with anyone that I can recall that just blew my socks off. They're just more consistent, right? I mean, they're just so good that they know if they make a bogey, they're gonna make 2 birdies to get it back, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's just crazy because I mean I've seen guys hit on the range, and I went to the Masters the year Sergio won, and just watched guys. That was probably I went to the Tuesday round, went to the Thursday first round, but Tuesday we walked around, but I went with the buddy we know, Scott Tridle. We just got a bunch of bears and sat behind him on the range and just watched him hit shots, and it was just like, it was just
Practice.
awesome. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see, like just to see them. And that practice facility at Augusta is stupid good, and just to see them work, man, it's just like, God dang, it's just effortless, just so good. But I was surprised though. I'm like, I watched Stenson hit it, and he struggled that week. I think he missed a cut, and like I distinctively remember him like blading like 3. He was hitting like a 120-yard target, but like literally catching like 3 in a row on the forehead.
Really?
And like, yeah, I'm just like, whoa. And then literally we see him, he misses the cut. Like, well, now we know why. Like, he was hitting like dog shit on the range. So like, even with the wedge, it was crazy because he works with Pete Cowan. He calls Pete over, and he's like, Pete, what in the hell is going on? And I was just like, whoa. Like, makes me feel a little better.
Sure.
And I catch a couple in the forehead that at least Henrik Stenson, the ball striker he is, that he's going to have a couple hiccups every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. It's a game of millimeters, right? I mean, you're talking about top 5 ball striker in the world right there, struggling on the range like Roy McIlroy, there. I mean,
right.
It's just something that happens.
Yeah. So I got to doing my research here, but you gained some popularity here in the last month or so, and I had to bring this up here talking about old Vijay, man.
I don't know what you're
I know it shocked me. He entered as well, but you voiced, and you've never been a guy to hold back your words in your comments on Vijay, man. And I doing some research. That's all I could find was your every damn thing. Golf Channel, ESPN. Brady Schnell comments on Vijay entering the Korn Ferry Tour.
Right.
And I know you wish you could go back and take that away if you could, but take me. You know what? Hey, how many cocktails did you have in you before you made those comments, or you just pissed off?
Zero. We were actually, my wife's car was getting worked on, and we had just driven there and picked it up, and my buddy texted me, and he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, just immediately, I was like, are you effing kidding me? Like, why? So it took me about 15 seconds to get that tweet out, which obviously is just not the right way to go about it.
Right.
I didn't use the right language, obviously. I think it's tough in today and age. It's like, if you don't do something kind of out of the box with your words almost, and I'm not condoning this, I'm just saying, if I would have politely said, hey, Mr. VJ, could you please not play in this golf tournament? Do you think it would have been noticed? Probably not.
No.
And nothing's going to come about it. It's just like, I made a hasty tweet that I shouldn't have. And I think the sentiment got across to a lot of people, but I also lost credibility in the way I went about it. And it is what it is. I'm letting it die, and it's died down, obviously.
Yeah, sorry, I had to bring it up, but
I know, I get it, and I still I'm not backing off the point that I made, right? I think, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from golfers that have gotten a hold of me and just, said that they agreed and whatever, and maybe I didn't say it the right way, but there's guys out there fighting for their livelihood, and I've been there, right? I mean, I've got my spot in the field. It was never about me. It's about me 10 years ago, right? I mean, trying to get in these tournaments that are so popular because of what's going on. And here's VJ. If he plays and plays well, he has no use for those points that he's going to be taking away. And we don't know how that would shake out at the end of the year. Maybe he finishes, 2 spots in front of the guy that just barely misses his card. And, it's just one of those things that's just kind of frustrating. But you know what?
No, I get it.
And he has earned his right to play where he wants, and that's the bottom line.
I mean, let's be honest. If this first tournament's in any other place in Jacksonville where VJ lives, he's not playing.
No, he's just bored. That's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's close by, and let's go get a couple live bullet reps in and see what I got.
Right, and I get it. I mean, but back in the day, he said some words about Annika Sorenstam coming to play in a tournament she didn't need points or money in either. And he said he wished she had thought about that and all that. And it's interesting to see. I know VJ really doesn't care. I think he's doing it for boredom and maybe some of the wrong reasons, I feel like. But it is what it is. He's a legend. He's 4th all-time money leader, and he's earned the right to do what he wants.
Yeah, and I first saw it. I'm just like, ooh, really? And I'm like, oh man, it's hometown, okay. But I'm like, why? It's like, really? It's just so, because golf's just different. I mean, you can have a 50, I don't know what VJ is, 52, 53. You can come down and do it. It's not like,
57.
Was that old? I didn't think it was that. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just.
Still got him. I mean, he can still play.
Hell yeah, he can.
But he catches flack for coming down to play on the PGA Tour.
Right.
And he's earned the right to do that. And now he's stepping down levels, and it's just like, what the hell? But,
right. Yeah, and it's I don't. I mean, I would say that 99% of the people don't disagree with you. It's just those other 99% don't have the balls to kind of say what you said.
Well, yeah, or they just don't understand, right? I mean,
right.
they see it as a what
they painted a clear picture. You did. I mean, you explained it. That's like what people got to understand. It's like, oh my God, Brady Schnell is, a hothead. He got a blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's like, I mean, if I compare it to the NFL, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's so unrealistic, but it's like saying, I'm trying to, when I was in San Francisco, or let's just say like someone with the New York Giants, Lawrence Taylor is going to come back and play a few games this season. Oh, so-and-so, you can't play. You're not getting paid your check. Like, what? Like, what the hell is Lawrence Taylor doing? Come back playing 2 games for the New York Giants. And this kid's not getting his check. That's like idiotic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's earned the right to do it, but I forgot where I was going to go with that, but it's just so different to come down 2 levels and do what he's doing. And golf's a little bit different than the NFL because it's the physicality of the NFL just really warrants to do that,
I mean,
right?
I was just trying to make a point, but it's
Yes.
like, I mean, it's so far from the, like, it's not even comparable to what, the golf, what Vijay's doing, but it's just trying to paint a different picture.
Well, and like I said, it's always been about guys trying to gain access because I've had to fight a lot of my career to do that. I've kind of been, this is the first year where I can truly set my schedule that I can remember. And it's tough to do when you're fighting for spots. And it's, I got some comments like, you're a 35-year-old dude playing on that tour, like go get a real job and stop being scared of a 57-year-old. And it's like, I'm not scared of Vijay. It's just doing what I feel is right. And I mean, honestly, there's on a week in, week out basis on those out there, I play against 50 to 100 guys that are better than Vijay right now. So it's not about that. It's just about protecting the guys.
Yeah, I get it. We can. You stated your point. It's just it's a goofy scenario, but what's when you I you go to Jacksonville here in a couple weeks to peg it up. What's in your bag, man? I know you kind of became a free agent here, so what's your equipment setup look like?
Yeah, I kind of went out on my own this year, and I was with Ping for 6 or 7 years, and right now I'm playing some Callaway Maverick driver and 3-wood. I've got a Ping hybrid in the bag, and the new PXG irons and wedges, and Callaway putter. So
Nice.
it's trying to find what works best in every area, I mean, there's companies that do things really well in certain areas, and most of them do everything really well, but just kind of picking and choosing and just having that freedom. So at first it was a struggle this fall because I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, can you send me this? Can you send me this? And it's like I had too many options. I couldn't make a decision as far as putters go too. That's really what I.
Well, you're talking to a club junkie right here.
Yeah, man.
I love that
tough.
stuff.
How do you make a decision sometimes, right?
You don't. I mean, I was tinkering. I got, had another set and I took it out the other, and I've been playing good and I took it out. I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you go try a different set? Because like I just wanted to, but it's like, don't switch. Like you've been doing fine with these irons. Like, I put them back in, but it's fun. Like I like to tinker.
I know. I hear you.
I mean, especially when you have the access that you guys have.
Right.
You're like, oh my God, I would be a mess.
I agree because for me it's with putters. Like if I don't see putts going in, it's like, all right, I just want a different vibe. Like give me a different look, like something I can have a little honeymoon period with, and if it goes away, then I'll switch again. But
that's cool.
It's like,
hey, that's me to a T. I couldn't put in a 10-gallon bucket today. So guess what? I go play tomorrow. There'll be something new, just to try something different, just because it's a confidence thing for me.
If you're gonna miss putts with that putter, you might as well hope you're not going to miss putters with the next one, So, I mean, but then you got guys like Barnrot, that have played the same center shafted Odyssey, white hot for, I mean, I got to play with him this year in Dallas, and you should see this putter. I mean, it has been through a wood chipper, it looks like. I mean, it just,
because it's white, so that white paint is falling off.
He won't switch it. It's 8 years now, he said. 8 years with the same putter.
God, that guy's a legend out there.
I know.
Ripping off his vape all. It's just a big old puff of smoke following him around.
It is unbelievable. He's such a good instructor too.
Yeah, he said I listened to a podcast with those subpar guys, and the guy spends every dollar he makes. He's unbelievable. Buys like all the cars, all the watches. Has another apartment just for his shoes.
Wow. Yeah, he did mention that. Actually, I forgot about that. And he doesn't look like that guy though. You're like, he just looks like he's so nice. He's one of the nicest people that I played with all year and got to be around. And he doesn't seem like the guy that's going to drive down the street in a Ferrari and come out of the car with a $400 pair of Jordans, But he likes.
Right. Hey, what's your time in the PGA Tour? Like what tournament did you play in? I know I would ask you to say compare the PGA Tour, the Korn Ferry Tour, but it's just really not even comparable. Like it's comparing like a Rolex to a Timex. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you can't do it. Like, but your time in the PGA, like the tournament you played in, like who did it the best? Like the dining, like because you guys have courtesy cars. Like you're like, holy smokes, man, this is some clean living out here at this event.
It's, I mean, they're so filthy spoiled. I can't even tell you. Like the best tournament overall, I think, was probably Wells Fargo, just in
Yeah.
every single aspect. I mean, the course is awesome. The people are awesome. Dining was awesome. Just such good food, such milkshakes, just handmade milkshakes right there in the locker room. I mean, you name it and you had it. The new Detroit event was unbelievable for
Yeah, the
here.
Rocky
I mean,
Mortgage.
we got the drive Escalades around. I mean, just down to the second you set off the plane, it's just like, all right, I'm going to be catered. And it's kind of like, I didn't grow up like, I don't like to be catered. So I had to kind of get used to people always asking if they can do anything for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And something that you can get used to, and something that obviously you see why these guys sometimes can come across as a little spoiled because they've been out
Yeah,
there and it's just their way
yeah.
of life.
So my experience when I go, play golf, it's work. You get there, you warm up, and then you're playing with your buddies. You sit around and you crush a couple cold beers or cocktails, whatever. Or I mean, take me to the take me to the scene on on the PGA Tour. Are those guys that when they get down, they go to the locker room and crush a couple cold ones with their boys, and they got some of the guys that go straight to the range, the putting green to work on their game.
Yep, absolutely. And guys that'll crush beers and then go to the range and work on their game.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
even better.
oh yeah. It goes.
That's my taste right there. That's more me. Catch a couple cold Coors Lights and then let's go work on those wedges because I just couldn't
It's
hit it within 10
it's
feet.
there for if you want it. You can walk in the clubhouse bar and get whatever you want. I remember, I think it was the Barbasol event, opposite field event or whatever it was, and they had a bar in the locker room set there for you to make your milkshake and put whatever cocktail choice you want in there. So it's just those are the little things I'm talking about that are a distraction, right? I mean, you go up there and you're not used to having that, and you can. I didn't partake in drinking right after the round at all
Mhm.
because I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to do for my game, but it's certainly there for you if you want to, and it can be a distraction.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It is. Yep.
That's a slippery slope. So I asked you your favorite event you play on the tour. When you come back to Nebraska, favorite course back here in Nebraska?
Oh my gosh. Well, I always loved where I grew up, Oak Hills in Omaha.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
where I learned the game. Judd and I
Yeah.
out there every day in the summer, just kind of trying to beat each other's heads in. And
Yep.
gosh, Omaha has some sneaky good golf courses, if you ask
Hmm.
me. And so does Lincoln. Obviously, Firethorn is
Yep.
awesome. My, you know what? You know where I really do enjoy though is Happy Hollow.
Yeah.
I think Happy Hollow is a lot of fun. I feel like Shadow Ridge kind of gets a tough rap sometimes because maybe their greens aren't like slopey and everybody thinks they're just kind of too straight, but
Hmm.
great layout too. And obviously you got Omaha Country Club. I don't even know if I could pick where I'd want to go play. If I had one round to play in Omaha, I'd probably say Oak Hills.
Have you played it since the new redesign? Since redid the back nine?
Not the back. That's how long it's been. Yeah, the
Yeah,
front,
me too.
yes. But gosh, I love it around there. It's just
Yeah, I
so
need to.
it's just being where you grew up, right? You can
Yeah,
remember walking the fairways with a little pull card, and it's just so fun.
yeah. We're spoiled here. I mean, people are Omaha, Lincoln. I mean, even this public courses in Lincoln and in
Indeed.
Omaha are really really good. And I mean, then you head out further west, and that's where literally I'm driving tomorrow morning to go play Wild Horse with some guys and meet Brandon
Never played
Crick
there.
out there to play.
Yeah, nice. I've never played there.
You've never
Oh,
played Wild Horse?
I have never played Wild Horse.
Oh my
I've only
gosh,
played Quarry Oaks like twice. I mean,
bro! Wild
is
Horse is like the
Quarry's good, isn't it?
greatest. What's that?
Quarry's good.
It's good, but it's Wild Horse is way better.
Is it?
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, it's the closest thing you'll get to, sand hills. I mean, people call it the poor man's sand hills, but it's
Really?
the firm, it's the fast. I mean, greens are 12s all day, and they're firm and slopey, and like, it's
Wow, I had no
good.
idea.
Like it's just different.
That's a public track.
It's a public track. Like it's
Yeah.
going to be
Oh.
$60 with the cart to play tomorrow.
And you know what's really, really cool too? I remember listening to one of your other podcasts. I forgot who it was with, but you guys were talking about Gothenburg there.
Oh yeah, Doak
Yeah,
Oscar, yeah, the trainer, yeah.
yeah. I'm drawing a blank on that golf course. I played there a few times. What's the name of that one?
Where at in Gothenburg?
Yeah.
That's Wild Horse.
Oh, that. Oh, Oh, you know what I'm thinking of is Iron. Is there an Iron Horse?
Iron Horse, yeah,
That's
yeah.
I'm using
But
Iron
like,
Horse.
how have you, the golfer you have, you've never played Wild Horse in Gothenburg? No,
Well,
Iron Horse is in Ashland. That's like
that would be a total bogey.
across the street from Corey Oaks.
Yeah. So you're driving out to Wild Horse tomorrow. That's sweet.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. We're gonna meet.
That's cool.
Go meet Mr. Crick to play and see if I can't get in his pockets a little bit.
Well, just make him give you more strokes than you need, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, correct. He does need to give me some. All right. Well, let's. Again, we appreciate you hopping on here, but I always got to end my segments here in my podcast with my 3 and out segment. First question for my 3 and out segment: you have one concert to go to. This band, this singer, either dead or alive. Who are you going to go see?
Iration.
I knew that's where you're going.
Those are my boys, man. Those guys are. I just love them.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't even know.
Question.
Like, I didn't even heard of them. And I came down to Phoenix last year. We played a couple of days. I'm like, who you listen to? This is really good because I like it. Some good reggae, and it's like these guys are nice.
And they are so into golf. It's crazy. They would probably rather play golf than sing. I feel like they are just hounds for it. Kind of like you.
Yeah. No, I seen it because I've been without any live sports on it, but kind of watching some of those no laying up.
Yeah.
Traveling around, and the lead singer, is it Posh?
Yep.
He's made a couple of the trips with them.
Yep. He's like a 2 handicap. He's pretty legit.
Nice. That is good. Most famous person in your phone?
Boy, it's got to be a toss up between Cable Guy and Scott Frost.
Oh, nice. You have Mr. I don't have Frost on my phone. Nice.
Yeah. Like
humble brag.
Yeah. Sorry. Famous. Why? If you're gonna ask, I guess if you're gonna say famous, I would say more people probably know who Larry the Cable Guy is across the.
Yeah, it's 100%. He's made her from cars, man.
Yeah.
Last question before I get you out of here, and we can both go to bed here. You have one song to sing perfect in karaoke. If you mess up one word, you're getting a dart to the neck, and you go night night. What's that one song you can sing perfect?
That I have done?
No. I'm just saying. There's one song you can step up to karaoke and you can sing perfect. Perfectly. Not pitch, not tone, but you can every word perfectly.
Regulators, Warren G.
How nice!
I will take that down word for word.
Oh yeah, it was a clear black night.
Yep.
Right moon. We can all do that one, man. That's a good. I always got to ask what one you could do. I'm like, I think I could do that one too, man.
That one or California Love's pretty good too. I mean, I got that one down, but I have to have the music to it. I couldn't just start rapping it right now.
No. Yeah, you have to have the beat going. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, Brady, man. I appreciate it, bud. Thanks for taking the time, and best of luck here in a couple weeks. Getting back going, and go fill them up and go make some cash, and then get yourself back up on that PGA Tour.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you having me on. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.